Today let us learn about regular and irregular verbs. Sam and Martha are best friends. Today, they shared a lunch at school. They wanted to play hide and seek after school but were not allowed. So, they thought about playing indoor games and went to Sam's house. After playing games, they drank lemonade. Soon it was time to leave. Martha called her father, who drove her home later that evening. In this passage, all the underlined words are verbs. Did you notice that the verbs here are in two different colors? This is because verbs can be classified into two types. Let's go ahead and learn about them. Today, we will learn about regular verbs and irregular verbs. Most verbs follow a set pattern while forming their past tense and past participle forms. The verbs that form their past tense and past participle forms by adding ed or d at their end are called regular verbs. For example, for the verb laugh, we add ed at its end to form its past tense and past participle forms. So, laugh becomes laughed. Similarly, for regular verbs that end in a consonant, we follow the same pattern to form their different forms. Here are some more examples. Regular verbs that end in e form their past tense and past participle forms by adding a d at their end. For example, the verb love ends in e, hence, its past tense and past participle is formed by adding a d at the end. Here are some examples. Regular verbs that end in a consonant followed by y form their past tense and past participle form by changing the y to I and adding ed at the end. For example, for the verb worry, we change the y to I and add ed at the end. Hence, worried is the past and past participle form of worry. Here are some examples. If a regular verb ends in a vowel followed by y, we add ed at its end to change its form. For example, the verb play ends in a vowel which is followed by y. We form its past and past participle form by adding ed at the end. Hence, played is the past and past participle form of play. Here are some examples. Here is a list of regular verbs and their different forms. Verbs that do not follow a set pattern when changing their forms are called irregular verbs. These verbs do not form their past tense and past participle form by adding d or ed at the end. For example, the verb think ends in the consonant k. If we were to follow normal rules to form its past tense, we would add ed at its end and get the word thinked. But think is not a regular verb, hence it does not follow the above-mentioned rule. Its past tense and past participle form is thought. Here are some examples. Up until now we have seen that verbs have the same past tense and past participle form. Now, let's learn about those irregular verbs that have different past tense and past participle forms. Here are some examples. There are some irregular verbs that do not change in any way when used as past tense or past participle. For example, here is a list of irregular verbs and their different forms. Let us recap what we have learnt till now. The verbs that form their past tense and past participle forms by adding ed or d at their end are called regular verbs. Irregular verbs do not form their past tense and past participle form by adding d or ed at the end. Rules for changing regular verbs are as follows. Irregular verbs form their past tense and past participle in three ways. They use the same form for past and past participle, or they use different forms for past and past participle, or they undergo no change at all. Let us now do some activities.